One day, a professor walked into the classroom carrying a large glass jar. He placed fist-sized rocks into the jar until no more could fit. When the students thought it was full, he added pebbles, then sand, and finally water, filling all the remaining gaps. He smiled and said, "This jar represents life. The rocks are the most important things: family, health, dreams. The pebbles and sand are only secondary. If you fill the jar with sand first, there will be no room left for the important rocks." The professor looked at the class and said, "This jar is an image of your life." He explained that the big rocks represent the essentials: family, health, deep relationships, and dreams. Even if you lose everything else, as long as you have these, life can still feel complete. Pebbles represent work, a house, or a degree, important but not the foundation. Sand represents the small things like social media, meaningless shopping, or time-wasting habits. If we let sand and pebbles take up space first, there will be no room left for the rocks. Finally, he poured water into the jar and smiled. The water represents little joys: a cup of tea, a laugh with a friend. No matter how busy life gets, we should always leave room for them. His message was clear: always put the big rocks in first. They are the foundation that gives life true meaning. Prioritize family, health, dreams, and love. Then come the pebbles, sand, and finally the water. Because life is not about filling up, but about living fully. The professor ended with a profound reminder: don't let the little things overshadow what truly matters. Always place the big rocks first, because they are the pillars that bring lasting value to your life. One day, when you look back, you will realize that family, health, love, and dreams are what truly nourish your soul and bring happiness. He paused, his gentle gaze sweeping across the class, then added, "Life is not about being busy. It's about the meaning you create each day. Don't just count the days, make the days count." When you balance rocks, pebbles, sand, and water, you will have a life that is full, complete, and joyful. The classroom was silent, each student as if awakened. The lesson was simple, yet it touched their hearts deeply. A reminder that choosing the right priorities can change the way we see and live life. One student raised a hand and asked, "Sir, what does the water represent?" The professor smiled and replied, "A wonderful question. The water represents simple joys we often overlook, like savoring a cup of coffee, sharing a story with friends, or an unexpected laugh. Even when life feels full of rocks, pebbles, and sand, there is always space for these small moments. We often think happiness only comes from big achievements, but in truth, it lies in everyday little things. Don't underestimate the water, because it's what makes life soft and colorful." At that moment, the class felt enlightened. They realized it's not only about keeping the big rocks, but also treasuring the little joys, because sometimes it's the smallest things that make life meaningful and worth living. The professor nodded and concluded, "Remember, the jar of life is not limitless. If we fill it with sand and pebbles first, there will be no space left for rocks and water. That's why so many live busy lives but still feel empty. They've forgotten the essentials." He paused, his voice warm. So always put the big rocks first: family, health, love, and dreams. Don't let yourself be swept away by trivial things. Then leave space for the pebbles, add the sand, and finally the water, the small joys that make life happy. The class sat silently, each student lost in thought. The lesson was not just a visual demonstration, but a profound reminder. Life is not about being busy, but about the art of living meaningfully with balance and wholeness. The professor's eyes shone with sincerity as he continued, "Life is not a race to fill time, but a journey to find real value in every moment. Live so that each day is memorable, not just another day gone. Because when you reach the end of the journey, you won't regret not watching more videos or scrolling more, but you will regret the hugs you missed, the conversations you never had, and the dreams you left unfinished." He looked around the room, his voice gentle but resonant. Putting the big rocks first is not just a choice, it's the only way to build a strong life. Only then can you add the smaller things while keeping balance. Remember, happiness is not about how much you fit into the jar, but about choosing the right things to place in first. The room was filled with silence, not emptiness, but the moment each person reflected on themselves. After a pause, the professor ended with a kind smile. "Ask yourself, which rocks did you place into your jar today? Every day is a chance to reorder, to set the right priorities. Don't wait until the jar is full to realize you've missed what matters. He stepped down from the podium, leaving the class in deep thought. Many students looked at the jar on the desk, realizing it was more than a simple object. It was a mirror of their own lives. Some quietly took notes, others smiled softly, but all of them knew they had just received a lesson that would stay with them for a long time. That simple story planted a seed of change. Live meaningfully. Place the big rocks first and let the rest fill in naturally. Because in the end, life is not measured by busyness, but by what truly fulfills the heart. When class ended, students left the room walking slower than usual. Some immediately called their parents, reminded that family is the first rock. Others silently promised themselves to take better care of their health or to stop delaying their forgotten dreams. For them, the glass jar was no longer just a teaching prop, but a symbol of their own lives. Outside, sunlight streamed through the window, illuminating the jar still resting on the desk. It seemed to whisper that every day begins with an empty jar, and we have the choice of what to put in first. Rocks, pebbles, sand, or water. It all depends on how we set our priorities. The final message echoed, make each day count. Don't just let the days pass. When you choose the right things to place into your jar, life becomes whole, balanced, and truly meaningful. As time passed, the lesson of the jar didn't end with that classroom. Many students later shared that whenever they faced choices or felt overwhelmed, they pictured the jar. The image of the big rocks reminded them, family, health, love, dreams, those are the foundation. Everything else, though important, is only pebbles, sand, and water. One former student shared, that story kept me from losing my way in my career. I learned to pause and have dinner with my family, to take care of myself instead of endlessly chasing goals. The jar became an eternal metaphor, a reminder that every day is a chance to reorder priorities. And when you place the big rocks first, you can walk lighter, live fully, and when you look back, you'll see your life was truly worthwhile. And that is the timeless message the professor wanted to leave. Life is not about how much you cram into it, but about what you choose to place first. Live with the right priorities. Give time to family, take care of your health, nurture love, and pursue your dreams. Let the pebbles, sand, and water come after, enriching the picture of life instead of overwhelming it. Finally, he emphasized, don't just live busy, live meaningful. Don't just count the days, make the days count. The story of the glass jar ended, but its echo lived on, becoming a compass for each person to reorder their own jar of life, so that one day when they look back, they can smile and say, I lived a complete life.